Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Laura Dolce. I'm the Executive Director here at the Kennebunk-Kennebunkport-Arundel Chamber. I'm glad you were able to take the time to join us this afternoon as we talk about starting a new business. With me, I have Brad Currie of the SBA and Tim Heard from SCORE, and they're here to talk to you a little bit about best practices, give some advice, and they're also going to explain to you about their two individual organizations. So we want to give you a heads up that we are recording this so that we can use it later so other people can watch it when they have some free time. We also want you to be able to ask questions either throughout as they're speaking or at the end if you want. Those of you online, you can raise your virtual hand if you like, or you can type a question right into chat. So without further ado, I think Brad is going to start.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it. Pleasure to be here. My name is Brad Currie. I am the Senior Area Manager for the SBA Main District Office. I cover York and Cumberland County. And I'm down here at the Chamber once a month, usually the third Wednesday of each month. I'm here. Sometimes that varies a little bit, so please always check in with the Chamber or reach out to me to verify the hours here. So the SBA, we are a federal agency. We are basically the umbrella over our resource partners, which is SCORE, the Small Business Development Center, the Women's Business Center, and the Veteran Business Outreach Center as well. So the SBA, we assist in several different facets, being from disaster assistance to counseling through our resource partners, access to capital, getting guaranteed loan programs and such that way, and then also contracting with the government and export assistance as well. So a few of the slides I'll run through quickly here to touch on some of the topics that Laura had asked us to mention. So some of the important things that you want to be able to do is to know and understand your why you are in business, what drives you, what gets you up in the morning, why are you thinking about starting a business, what's your purpose? Those kind of questions you need to ask yourself and have a good understanding of before you really get started. There's a video from Guy Kawasaki that talks about when you set out to start a business, if you set out to make money, you may not make meaning and you may not make money. But if you set out to make meaning, you have a lot better chance to make meaning and make money. That being, when you have a purpose, when you have an impact on the local community or on your customers that you work with, then you have a better chance of making money by making meaning. He says it a lot more delicately than I do. A great example of this as well is a small business called Mia Sorello's Studio in Biddeford. She started a business not only refurbishing old furniture, but taking it and making it completely unique. So she does that in honor of her sister who passed away from breast cancer. And just how her sister was unique and did lots of different things within the community there in Biddeford and where they grew up. So that's her meaning, to bring a unique piece of furniture to you and meet your needs as the customer. So that's kind of her purpose and her meaning, or her why of why she is in business and does what she does. Some other questions you need to ask yourself, have you ever worked in the business industry that you are wanting to start a business in? It's always good to have experience in that industry before getting going with it. Are you willing to invest a significant portion of your savings or net worth in the business? Because it does take money to make money and to get started in any kind of business that you're planning on doing. Do you have a business plan and for the business you were planning to start? Do you know if your business will require a special license or permit to obtain it? So there's lots and lots of different questions that you need to ask yourself. Are you ready to start a business? Are you good at being a people person? Are you good at numbers? There's lots more to being a business owner than being a good person at the craft or that product or that service that you're providing. That's where the SBA and our resource partners come in. because you may be a master of doing what you do, but don't have that business part of it. So that's where we come into play and really help you be able to get that part of it too. Next slide. So before you jump in with both feet, test the waters a bit. Find out if you have a clear benefit for your business. Is there a profit potential? Do people have a reason to believe in your business? What are the barriers to entry? How are you going to be getting your product or service out to your clients and your customers? It could be online, it could be a brick and mortar, and for example. Next slide. So it's very, very important to do your market research. Tim and I were talking to a young gentleman that's here earlier about doing market research and finding out specifically who your customers are going to be. In no case is it, this is so great, everybody wants it, or everybody's going to buy it, because not everybody can afford it perhaps at the price point you need to sell it to break even, and not everybody's going to want it. So it's really important to do that market research and find out exactly who will be wanting to buy your product, how they want it, how much they're willing to pay for it. Really great ways to do that is through your market research. One of the best places is your local public libraries. I know the Portland Public Library is connected to several other public libraries down in this area as well. Having a library card can help get you access to several databases so that you can do this research as well. Next slide, please.
Also add that to your local chamber,
Yes.
really has, especially if you're opening a very local business, we can really talk to you about locations. We can talk to you about what this local market is like, because here in the Kennebunks, that can vary by 3 blocks.
Yeah.
Completely different market. So
Exactly. And the chambers have several members, so helping work that business to business aspect as well. Finding out, like you said, there might be a saturation of that specific industry in this neighborhood, but over in Arundel, perhaps it's wide open and maybe that's those services as well. So doing that market research, talking to the chamber will really help find out where you should start trying to sell your business, your products and services too. So doing that market research on these will help you answer these types of questions. Is there a strong market? Are there specific people that want your product or want to be able to buy your product? The one I really like is, how strong an incentive do you customers have to give you their money? Are you creating that product specifically in a way that people want to buy it? Doing that market research, talking to people will help you fine tune your product, your service in a way that people want to buy it. You just talk to them and they told you how they want it. And now you're able to provide it to them at a cost they want to buy it from you for. And so doing that market research, talking to people, talking about what you do and how they want it will help you get that done. Next slide, please. Sources of financing, there's several different ways. Like I said, it takes money to make money. You have your personal funds. You can get a bank loan, a commercial loan through almost any local community bank or credit union here in Maine and across the border in New Hampshire as well. And then there's crowdsourcing, there's peer-to-peer networks, micro loans. Then it goes into the equity investment as well through the angel investors and private equity and such that way. If you get an equity investor, definitely look for what else they can do for you, because if they're just going to give you money and then you're giving up a portion of your business ownership to them, it's more beneficial to get a bank loan. Then that way you pay it off, you still own your business itself. So just like Shark Tank and such like that, if they have an in to get your business or your product into Sam's Club or something like that, that they're beneficial in more ways, then yeah, it could be very good to have them give you an equity injection and give up, a percentage of your business. The crowdsourcing, doing Kickstarter campaigns. The Stars and Stripes Brewing Company in Freeport did a Kickstarter campaign that helped them get the funds they needed so that they could have that equity or that cash injection to get a bigger bank loan and allow them to get the funds they needed to lease a space, do construction on there, get their startup capital and everything from that Kickstarter campaign that helped them get that bigger loan. So there's ways of doing that too. The SBA guaranteed loan programs, if you go to the next slide, please, I'll go ahead and you on there. The SBA, we don't directly lend money outside of disaster assistance, but we do guarantee it. So the process starts at the bank or the credit union. Most of them here in Maine are SBA lenders. If you're not already working with someone, then we can help you find a lender that is an SBA lender that can help already work with you on getting that financed. But so you apply to the bank, the credit union. If for some reason your application does not meet the loan, the banking policy for them to be able to give you an approval, then they can look at using an SBA guarantee to help make it happen. Some of those issues might be lack of collateral, lack of your own cash injection, because you have to at least have 10% down on commercial loans through the SBA anyway. If you're not getting that SBA guarantee, then they may be looking for 20 or 30, 40% down in some cases for commercial real estate type loans. So if that's one of the issues, then that's one of the purposes that they can use the SBA guarantees. And those guarantees can be used to help launch your business, grow it, buy supplies, equipment, commercial real estate, help you export a product as well. So there's almost anything that you need funds for within your business, an SBA guarantee can be used. Next slide, please.
Brad, we had a question, if we want to get to it now or later, on the pros and cons for an LLC versus S corps.
I would probably actually leave that one to Tim.
Okay,
I'm
so
happy to answer it. I think it depends on the type of business that you're operating. Both offer similar sorts of protection. I mean, the main intent of an LLC or an S corp is to separate your business assets from your personal assets, and it affords some protection. If, God forbid, any business goes bankrupt. I think in terms of an LLC, they offer very similar protection to an S corp with a lot less complexity. So unless there's a very specific reason as to why you want to set up an S corp, I would certainly, and it does depend on the complexity and the size of the business, I would stick with an LLC. For example, on an S corp, you would need to form a board of directors to operate that business, and provides for a much more complicated tax return. But other than that, they both offer very similar forms of protection.
And with that answer as well, it doesn't matter what business or industry you're in. Every business is different, and it really comes down to what your preference is. Yeah. As far as the tax implications on an S corp, you may be, better off in your mind of having that as your legal entity compared to the LLC, or vice versa. Yeah. You may know somebody has the same type of business in another town that they're an S corp, but you may not want to have the hassle, starting off with the different types of paperwork you have to use that way. So you may choose to be an LLC. So it does vary by person to person, really, and owner to owner. Are you able to play that?
yeah, let's give this a go.
Around the nation, there are over 500,000 startups each month. As a business startup, funding is one of the first and most important financial decisions a business owner makes. SBA's Lender Match tool brings together entrepreneurs and SBA lenders to help increase access to capital. There are over 800 lenders in all 50 states that participate in the online referral program. Hear from a small business owner of an auto repair shop in Texas.
With the SBA loan, I went from, I think it was 21.99 interest rate all the way down to 7 interest rate. Well, from paying 25 $3,000 to paying $400. So it's big. It's a big cut.
Lender Match. That makes it easier for entrepreneurs to use and connect with potential lenders. For more information, go to www.sba.gov/lender match.
That's a quick video on the SBA guarantee program itself and the way and how that can help you, but also how you can find a lender that's interested in working with you if you don't already have a relationship with a bank or credit union. If you already have a relationship with a lender, you can go to the next one. If you already have a relationship with a lender, best place to start is with somebody you already have that relationship built, because they know who you are. Even if it's just a personal banking account that you have, you don't have that business account with them yet, you know, they know you on that personal side as well. So it's always good to start with someone you had a relationship with. You can go to the SBA.gov/lender match to go through lender match. It's a simple process. Fill out a little bit of information. It's not a pre-application, so there's no social security number or PII type information that way. But you know what business you're in, what are you selling? Do you have a business plan? How much do you need? How are you going to use those funds? Things like that. And then you hit enter and it goes through the system to lenders on the other side of that have set the parameters saying for Kennebunk, Maine, in these industries in the amounts of 50,000 to 500,000, you know, and then if your submission through lender match meets those parameters, they will get that. They'll get that, they'll review and go, yeah, this is somebody we're interested in working with. They'll hit either yes or no. Those are the only options they have. If they hit yes, it opens up the lines of communication between you and that lender to start talking and then find out how to actually apply. If they hit yes, they're already interested in you, in your business and what you're trying to do. So it's a great way to find one of those lenders. Next slide, please. So if sometimes you're still not able to get those loans through the bank with an SBA guarantee. And in those cases, SBA has resource partners that provide microloans. CEI, Coastal Enterprises, Agri-Scoggin, Council of Governments, and others are microlenders for the SBA. They lend SBA dollars from 500 to 50,000 for those riskier borrowers. So the interest rate is a little bit higher, but it's reasonable. And there's mandatory training classes that come with that as well to help you be more marketable for those bigger loans to the banks and the credit unions. So it's a great program. If you're unable to get financing through a bank or credit union, they can be a great way to get those funds. And CEI, Coastal Enterprises, is amazing themselves. They have the Wicked Fast loan that they also have that goes up to 15,000 for startups. Lots of great information through all of them and assistance through all of them. Next slide, please.
The chat here, I'll just really quick. We can come back to this, I think.
Yeah, let's come back to that one. I think Tim might be able to answer that one really well.
Oh, let's see this one.
So, people talk about business plans. Why do you want to have a business plan? It's a roadmap basically. So, a lot of times you can kind of just go off what you have in your head, but it really helps put things into perspective if you actually put it on paper. Plus, if you're working with a mentor or advisor from one of the resource partners, having it on paper allows them to get a better understanding of what you're trying to do. And then they can provide better feedback to you and guidance to you on what your next step should be to get you where you want to be. If you have it all in your head, they really can't help a whole lot. If they can see it and they can review it, then they'll be able to give you better information. You can use it when you're talking to your employees so they understand what your mission is and feel empowered to be a part of your business opposed to being just an employee. So there's lots of ways you can use that business plan to your advantage to really help your business grow and help others understand what it is that you're trying to do. Next slide, please. So the must-haves in there, not going to go too in depth on this, but your concept, your market, who specifically is going to buy your product, your service, the economics, are you going to be a high fixed cost firm or a high variable cost firm? How are you going to actually operate as a business? And then risks and assumptions, what to kind of expect, what could hinder your business, what kind of roadblocks you might run into. Having these as a start when you go and talk to the partners enables them to get a good idea of what you're trying to do, and then they can help you build that plan better. Next slide. So the next couple of things, next slide as well, is exporting and then also government contracting. So if you're just starting out, it is a possibility that you could export your business or your product as well. Jinx Productions started off with 2 people, and their first client was a TV program in Germany. So it is a possibility that you could start off your business or that you're new and finding new markets in other countries. Canada is another country, even though they're just right here. A lot of people forget about that. They're like, oh, it's just right here. But it is exporting to another country. So you may already be doing that. And we have assistants that can help you do that as well. The Maine International Trade Center is a great partner to help you find global markets. And they also administer our STEP grant program, which is a grant program for exporting you can get up to $20,000 a year in funds to reimburse you for actions that impact your exporting venture, basically. So doing different things that your business does to export, you can get reimbursed up to $20,000 a year for it. And that goes to the Maine International Trade Center as well. Next slide. Government contracting I also mentioned. These two, government contracting and exporting, are great avenues to find new markets. Myself and Jim Pino, my counterpart up in Northern Maine, we do a class called Finding New Markets. So if you've been in business for a while and COVID and the pandemic hindered the markets you've been going through and been successful with, and those now have gotten a little bit smaller, which is understandable, looking at these other markets can be a great benefit to your business. So the U.S. Federal government is the world's largest purchaser. So they buy everything from #2 pencils to Tomahawk missiles. And plus the government agencies have a goal to meet of 23% spending to small businesses. So if you're selling it, more than likely the government's buying, and we can help you with that too. Both contracting and exporting can be very intimidating, as I like to say with exporting, where in the world do I even start, right? With government contracting, there's so much red tape and so much different lingo and restrictions and everything you have to go by. The SBA, our resource partners, and others that we work with can help you understand all of that and be able to take advantage of those markets. Next slide. So this one is leading into Tim as well. So the SBA has official resource partners being SCORE, the Small Business Development Center, the Women's Business Center, and the Veteran Business Outreach Center. They all provide free business advising and mentorship. They all work very well with each other and have different demographics that they work with specifically. And again, they are free. They have the advising, and then they also have a ton of workshops and trainings that they also provide for free as well. Next slide, please. We're almost done there. Yep. For our district office, these are the members of the SBA main district office covering the entire state. So we have our district director and our deputy, and then also Bill Card and Keith Lind. They're all located in the Augusta office. Jim Pino, he's in Bangor and covers northern Maine, and then I'm in Portland and cover York and Cumberland County. So if you need any of us, take a screenshot of that. You can reach out to us. Next slide. Just be going on to the questions. So with that, I will defer over to Tim.
Just pull it up really quick.
Just wait for the slides to come up.
And then just move back to that comment real quick. Just following up on the LLC versus this S Corp. So comment was, I was just thinking if I get investors down the road, an S Corp might be helpful. Investing S shares in retirement accounts for better tax favored growth. or why I'm leaning towards an S corp. Maybe a tax attorney SBA referral may help. Thanks again.
Advice would always be to either seek professional advice on that one, whether it be your CPA or attorney, to really dig deeper into that subject. I think there's nothing again stopping you from forming a business as an LLC, and then down the road when you're ready to consider shares, switch it over to an S corp. It depends what type of business is and the size of the business and where you are in your business. If you're starting out, my advice would be probably to start with an LLC and then change it down the road. So it's an option, but best to seek professional advice on that particular subject.
Yeah, for sure. And to add to that too, like Tim's saying, if you start off with an LLC, you can change into an S corp down the road. It can be pricey to change back. You're allowed to change back to an LLC at one time, but then it might cost a little extra. They might not allow you to come back to an S corp right away. You may have to wait a certain period of time or something like that too. So definitely, sign up for a mentor and advisor through the resource partners. Talk to the legal advisory person or a CPA to get a good understanding of those different legal entities, so you really know what you're doing. Yep.
Go to the next one. For those of you that don't know anything about SCORE, we are a non-profit. We're a resource partner of the SBA, but we're not part of the SBA. We began in the mid-60s and started small, but today we are up to about 250 chapters nationally, about 9,000 to 10,000 volunteers, and we're meeting with about 1 million client sessions a year. So we're kept fairly busy across the country. Next slide.
Tim, can I, for 1
yes.
second, can you tell people what SCORE means?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I think it goes back to an old history.
Okay.
So best probably not to, because it really doesn't represent what we are. Yeah.
That's curious.
But thank you, Laura. So, SCORE mentors. We're business leaders from a broad spectrum of skills and knowledge from many diverse backgrounds. And if I just take our Seacoast SCORE chapter based in Portsmouth, there's 70 of us, and we all have very different backgrounds, whether it be retail, hospitality, banking, insurance, you name it. We have small business owners, so a very diverse group of skills and backgrounds. We also have many entrepreneurs who have owned or still own small businesses and non-profit organizations in this coast. And we're all volunteers serving our business communities. We are offering the largest network of free expert business mentors. If you're just starting a business, we're very capable and willing to assist someone thinking through what they want to do and how they want to do it. If you already own a business, we're happy to talk to you about how to grow it and maybe even think about how it works into your work-life balance. All of the conversations that we have are confidential. We're willing to sit down and work through any issues you might have, whether they be about cash flow, motivating your team, or any other topics that you might have. And I have had many clients who fall into many different categories. I've had a client who we started about growing the business, then she wanted to contract the business, and then she wanted to sell the business, and we actually worked through every single phase of that till she actually sold the company. But the vast majority of, I think, our clients really are people who are thinking of wanting to start a business on their own. Next slide. We provide 2 mentors for every client. So if you do sign up for a mentorship, you'll be assigned 2 mentors. And that really helps, I think, in terms of getting different perspectives and different points of view as we work through what you're really looking for from us. All of our services are free, whether they be mentoring, whether they be the workshops. You can have as many follow-on sessions as you like. The only thing is based upon the availability of your mentors. I have clients who I've been mentoring with for 3 or 4 years, meeting on a very regular basis of maybe monthly, six weeks. But the relationship does change. It can start off being very tactical, very, how do we form an LLC? How do we get an EIN? How do we open a business bank account? And then it can transition into being something that's more advisory, helping the client really think through more strategic issues for the long-term benefit of their business. All of our sessions are primarily Zoom-based, but we do offer face-to-face mentoring sessions at our office, should anyone prefer that. As I mentioned, we are also offering business-related seminars and workshops, and they can be also found on our website. There's an enormous amount of business information and templates that we also have available to our clients. And I repeat again, these sessions are confidential within SCORE, so you can talk to us openly and honestly, and we will talk openly and honestly back with you. These are just some of our workshops. I won't run through them all right now. You can see them on our website, at the bottom of the page, score.org Seacoast, and we run probably four a month on that cycle. Brad really went through all of our resource partners here, 3 of them that we work very closely with, both in New Hampshire, northern Massachusetts, and southern Maine. And if we need some help, we interact with each other, both ways. I think these are just some contact information, and I'll leave it there.
And it was a recommendation for SCORE. Highly recommend SCORE. I've been working with 2 volunteers for 1.5 years, and they're very helpful educators.
I have a question to piggyback on Tracy's conversation, because Tracy runs a small kind of emerging nonprofit that has done great work, and I was actually surprised because I didn't realize at first that SCORE helped nonprofits. How does that differ, the work you do with businesses starting out in nonprofits?
It's a great question. I think there's nonprofits face many of the same sort of issues that the for-profit business. So by and large, we treat them very similarly. Try and answer the questions that those nonprofit businesses have. I've had several who come to us and they say, I want to form a not-for-profit business. And then by the time we've actually talked it through, they realize that they really need a for-profit business. So I think it all depends on what stage someone is thinking. But I think really what we try and do is help people think through what is right for them, what is right for the type of business that they're trying to form, and is what they're trying to do really a not-for-profit business.
Another question I was thinking is the business plan. I think some people, that's kind of overwhelming, the thought of it. But
I laugh. Yeah, I just see the number of our clients that we see and we start talking to them about a business plan and you can just see the eyes rolling back into their head. Again, I think a business plan, and then I'll hand it over to Brad, but I think a business plan varies by the type of business that you're operating. I probably would always try and encourage all of our clients to have some sort of a plan. How detailed it is depends on what their needs are. If you're going to go for a loan, you need a business plan. And we will gladly sit down and provide templates for business plans. We have several. We will break it into manageable chunks and talk people through what the banks are looking for. While we won't write the business plan, we're happy to review it and sit down and give some feedback. I think every business needs to have a plan just because they need to know where they're going. And if you don't have a plan, everything else is really just an accident.
I can't add a whole lot to that, really. That was very well said. Yeah, having that business plan, you definitely have to have one when you apply for a loan. The only time that I've heard of that you didn't need to have one is if you've been with that lender for like 30 years and in business for that same amount of time. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, you've already had 20 loans with us. We'll work with you. You don't have to worry about it. But that's like the very rare case. And having that second set of eyes through the resource partners will help you put your best foot forward when you go and apply for that loan. If you don't have to have an SBA guarantee, then great. It's better to not need that help. But if you need that help, then the guarantee will have to help you with that. But having that business plan with the resource partners looking after that would be very beneficial.
I think just a very quick anecdote. I was working with a couple who were starting a business, had no prior business experience whatsoever. They were in the wellness business. They were absolutely horrified and intimidated at the thought of writing a business. And through working with them and talking them through it and really reassuring them that this is what banks do. They want to work with local business owners and small businesses. Therefore, they shouldn't be intimidated by having to go to the bank for a loan. That's what they're there for. And these two women wrote up a business plan. I have to say it was probably one of the best business plans I've seen. And the bank, reaffirmed it and gave them everything that they asked for. So if you do it right, it saves a lot of pain down the road.
So speaking of pain down the road, we see a lot of businesses who come to us and sometimes they start out as a hobby business and they've grown into a business, but they've floundered. Two questions. A, is it ever too late to create a business plan if you didn't create one? And B, we hear the same thing. We might hear from business when it's closing, but there's a lot we could do before that happens. So what do you do? What can you offer to businesses that are still trying to get off the ground, that maybe haven't started with a business plan, that maybe are floundering? Where do you go from there?
It's never too late. So I think if someone really feels that their business isn't going in the right direction or the direction that they hoped it was going, the sooner that they can reach out and seek advice and some help, the better. We sadly do see some clients where they've left it too late and they've either run out of money or they're not in a position to get further funding. But so the sooner you feel that your business isn't going in the right direction, and you reach out and get some professional help, I think better than waiting, not doing anything.
It's best to start off with a business plan. Put one together when you're starting off because it's part of building that foundation for your business. And a good solid foundation will help your business be strong going down the road. If you did have one when you started off, you can still put in some new planks and stuff like that on that foundation and secure it so you can move forward and be stronger. And it helps you, like with the loans, it helps you have a better understanding of what you're doing, you know? Because you, as a small business owner, you have so many hats that you're wearing. You're doing so many different things, and things tend to fall off a little bit. If you have them wrote down and you go back and you review that business plan every so often, like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be working on this aspect too. You know, I had planned to, you know, hit that 6 months in, and now I'm already a year in. I haven't even done that yet. So it helped keep you on track with what your original goals were. Plus, it's a living, breathing document that you will adjust as your business grows as well.
You know, there was another example of this. It's, very respectable business was branching out, and they had put a business plan together for an event property, and they were building it out of the ground. They built a very robust business plan, and based on that, they got a loan. This might be another mistake a lot of people make. They underestimated what they needed, both in terms of build out and working capital that requires they needed to actually start the business. So the importance of a business plan is to make sure that you actually apply for the right amount of money for loan. If you underestimate, it becomes extremely difficult. Brad can expand on this. It's extremely difficult to get another loan because you've got a business plan that you submitted, and if you run out of money, it's a problem.
Business plan will help you stay on
that.
track.
Yeah.
Is anything different if you're buying a business as opposed to just starting one from ground up?
No, not really. If you're buying a business, you definitely want to look into the last 3 years of their financials. If they're going to sell you that business, then they should be willing to show you their financials. If you're getting a loan to do that as well, then the bank's going to want to see your business plan moving forward as well as those last 3 years of the financials. And any business that's selling, they should be willing to work with, right? They're going to want to see a business evaluation. You know, the lender's going to want to see that to make sure that what their selling price is, and any clients and goodwill that comes with it is all included and worth what that selling price is. If that valuation is lower than what that selling cost is, they'll still give you a loan, but it won't be for that total selling cost.
Buying a business can reduce risk in terms of starting a business from scratch. But at the same time, you're going to pay more for it, potentially. So you're reducing the risk on one level, but you're having to probably put some more money into it. Because people are selling it to make some money. But Brad's point, you've got 3 years worth of history. If you don't get 3 years of history, then we'll be careful.
We have a lot of members who are small, or they're starting their business, or they might be the only employee right now. Where do they begin? Is it pretty much the same process? Are there things that they have to think about?
Yeah, I think it's exactly the same. The only thing that I would say is that when we meet with sole proprietors, we realize day after day how lonely it is to be a sole proprietor. And a lot of what we do is actually help those people who are starting a business obviously think through their business issues. Very often it's just somebody to talk to. They know what they have to do. They understand, you know, where they're going, what they have to do, but they want someone to say, yep, you're doing a great job. That's also some part of what we do. I'm always amazed that a high percentage of our clients know exactly what they're doing. And they just need some confidence to be able to do it and get there.
I would say with the sole proprietor as well, definitely look at the legal impacts of that too. If you're, creating a product or service that, people benefit from, and there's no real risk of, your business being sued or somebody getting hurt or something like that, then being a sole proprietor is probably still fine. A great example, when I was with the SBA in Colorado, we have the Boots to Business program. It's a startup program for veterans and family members. One of my instructors that came in and would talk about that, he was an old Air Force veteran. And his example was, if you're selling doilies down at the county fair, you could probably be a sole proprietor, no issues. But if you're selling hot apple pie out of your kitchen window to people who are walking, through your yard and picking that up, you may consider some additional protection through an LLC or something like that, because somebody could get burned, people get burned from hot coffee, and you have to have that kind of protection, or somebody twists their ankle walking across your grass to pick up that pie. So you have to consider what it is that you're doing and think about the legal impacts of being a sole proprietor or that LLC.
Say that actually forming an LLC is one shouldn't be intimidated from forming an LLC. You can go online, do it all online, pay your fee, which varies by state, but it's really usually in the $100 to $200 range. Massachusetts is a little higher, and in an hour you've got an LLC. So I would encourage everyone really to form them as opposed to being sole proprietor.
And I learned recently with an LLC as a sole proprietor from a tax perspective that it's like very similar to filing a 1099 as a freelancer.
Yeah.
It's just a different form. And so there's not a lot of tax complications to it.
Very straightforward.
Yeah.
For sure.
Chrissy had a question about visits to high schools. Did either one of you ever visit high schools? We have had young entrepreneurs in the community, who are always actually invited to meet here with our reps. We try to encourage that. But is that anything you've seen more of lately, working with younger people?
We have very occasionally, if it's been a connection or been a request to attend a high school. I think where we're more focused is on more community colleges, vocational schools, people who are perhaps going into a trade or an industry where they can be a sole proprietor and maybe be able to help.
And as far as the SBA, I personally have gone to UNE over in Biddeford as well, and talked about SBA programs and services that way, with a little mix of startup as well. And I haven't done it here, but if somebody is interested in having a representative from the SBA come to the high school and talk about the program services, talking about, little things like we've done today about starting that business and stuff, I'd be more than happy.
Any other questions out there in here? I feel like I just asked, they're great questions.
How many people already have businesses? You already have your business? What's your business?
It's Main Coast Pet Care, and
Okay.
it's pet sitting, pet walking. Actually got some flyers. I wasn't sure if it's gonna be here, but yeah, so we have an LLC, so and it was very simple to set up, like you said. So yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. We're a new business too, that's why I'm here.
You're
But yeah.
located in this area?
Yep, I actually live down the street. So yeah, so we're servicing Kennebunk-Kennebunkport-Arundel all the way up to Saco. So yeah,
Brilliant. I'd love to get one of your flyers as well.
Yeah.
sure. Nice. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anybody online already have businesses as well, or looking to start, or what's your idea?
I'll go. This is Lindsay Kamen. I have a shop in town in Kennebunk called the Local Bottega, and we're relatively new. We had our soft opening the first weekend of September and our grand opening the first weekend of November.
Lindsay, I've been meaning to come in and see you because I know you've been working with two of my esteemed colleagues,
Yeah.
Speak very highly of you and your interactions and your business. So I will find some time and swing by at one of these weekends.
I look forward to it. Yes, thank you so much.
Congratulations on getting your business started.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Steve, do you have any? to chime in on?
I'm sorry, was there a question for me?
No.
First, Stephen Turner.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, hi, sorry.
Hi.
I stepped away for a minute, sorry.
That's okay.
Um,
Did you want to talk about your business idea, or if you've already
Yes.
got one in works?
So I'm actually, rolling out of business. Financial services, I'm combining company retirement plan advising with individual investing and insurance planning. I've partnered up with a couple of marketing companies that will provide some leads for me to get me into companies. And I've got probably 25 to 30 years of experience within the industry working for others. So I'm finally branching out and gonna do it on my own.
That's a great way to get started. Having that kind of experience like that will help you be more successful because you know the industry. And it's just, working with an advisor, a mentor to help get the business side of things going for you.
Right.
Even if we can help, we'd be happy to put you with. Got several of our volunteers who come out from the financial service industry, so I'm sure they'd be willing to assist you like that.
Yeah, I'd love to reach out to one or both of you, and I don't have those are my questions as far as LLCs or S corps. So I don't have a corporate entity in place yet. I've got some ideas as far as names and even some marketing, like one phrase slogans for the company that will help differentiate myself. And then I still need to write a business plan, which I have not done yet.
Well, we'll give you, make sure you get our contact information, and we'd be happy to steer you in that direction.
Great, thank you.
Oh, you talking to me? I'm sorry. Hi.
Hey, Tracy.
I'm Tracy. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that well. So I have a nonprofit that I started, and I had from day one support from SCORE. And I couldn't be more thankful for their support. As a matter of fact, I need to get in touch with Lindsay, by the way, while we're on here, Lindsay, I got to get in touch with you. And they were so helpful. I mean, we do meal kits for food pantries. So we teach people how to cook at their home, kind of like a Blue Apron or a Hello Fresh kind of box. And we've been really successful, and we've given out over 1,500 now of those kits, and we started a senior kit as well, and delivered over 300 of those. So I couldn't have done it without the support of SCORE. So I want to thank you for that.
We're grateful for that too, because our food pantry here is some of the beneficiaries of Tracy's food kits. They're incredibly popular.
Yeah.
And you were the first beneficiary, actually, and I'm so thankful to you, Laura, because that opened the door, in a lot of ways, with confidence, with inspiration, really, being part of this community, you just really opened the door for us. And, like I said, we're 1,500 kids in now. So we're out there helping people and teaching them how to cook, and we're hoping to give them confidence and inspiration and maybe opportunity. So it takes all of us, really.
Fantastic.
Well, I see Brad has put a resource list right there in the chat, and if anyone wants to download that before we end our session, that would be nice to have. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking the time, and especially want to thank Tim and Brad because it's super helpful. And again, we've recorded it so we can put it out there for many more people to see. And I do hope people listen and they'll write business plans. But I think it's always good to know what's out there, because I think a lot of people don't realize. So really appreciate that.
The resource partner contact list I put on there are for those in Maine. Tim, what's the website for the Seacoast?
It's checks. chamber-seacoast.org.
You could also find him as one of the members listed on the Chamber's website, so they can access.
Sorry. Yeah, that's it. Perfect. Excellent.
That's it. Well, thank you all so much, and we hope you enjoy the rest of this sunny afternoon.